Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Logan Paul and his fiancée Nina Agdal. Not sure how to pronounce that last name. Regardless, I cannot escape this. My timeline has been flooded, submerged, fucking just inundated. Logan Paul and beef that he's having right now with this guy called Dylan Dennis. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Literally had not heard of this man ever in my life until I could not escape from the timeline. So basically Logan Paul has another one of his fights coming up. So there is a whole theory that this is all a form of promotion, which we'll get into. So Dylan Dennis, this other dude, has basically been consistently and kind of obsessively, it's creeping me out, has been consistently posting Nina Agdal with different men. So here is a sped up screen recording of his timeline. I would usually include screenshots, but I think it would take just as long. And I wanted to show you his timeline to show you how consistently and repeatedly he is posting about Nina Agdal. Now, if I were you, I would pause here and there where you see posts that are pertinent, but really this is to show you just how intense this has been. This hasn't been one or two posts, it's been continuous and non-stop. And this was from before I recorded. This was like from 2 days ago, so I'd be afraid to look now. The implication is that she slept with all of these men. The implication is that she's a whore. And I'm sorry to use that type of language, but really, that's where we're at. I didn't comment that, but that's the nicest word you're gonna find in those comments. So there's been this kind of consistent obsession with showing pictures of her, and apparently she dated Leo DiCaprio, then apparently she dated so-and-so. She dated a bunch of people I've never heard of in my life, and I don't even know what is actually confirmed to be true versus what's a picture a paparazzi took of a man and a woman in the street and people just came up with God knows what. We don't know who she might have hooked up with, who might be a friend, who might be a serious relationship. We don't know basically anything. And I mean, even if we did know, I don't know why anyone particularly cares. The reason why I'm talking about it is not because I care who she slept with, didn't sleep with, dated, didn't date. Truly, my life is gonna go on. I will drink my coffee tomorrow morning the same way as I did today, whether she slept with someone or not. But more than anything, her alleged having relationships with X, Y, and Z and her alleged sleeping with X, Y, and Z has been turned into a way to shame Logan Paul, because the subtext, which isn't even necessarily subtext, because I'm pretty sure I saw this in a tweet and I'll see if I can find the screenshot, but basically people were saying, oh yeah, you're marrying a whore, which there is a lot to unpack here. Now, I mentioned the fight before, and do I think that this is all promotional? I would like to think not. That being said, I have no faith in the Paul clan. We have Greg Paul, who's super fucking creepy with underage people, so we can throw that one out the window. We have Jake Paul, who was just at the peak of being overall annoying and potentially a toxic boyfriend / abusive, according to Alyssa Violet. So there's that, another one out the window. Logan Paul in the suicide forest, that one out the window. These are not people I trust or care to defend. So none of what I'm saying is in defense of Logan Paul. If there's anyone I would be defending, I guess it would be his fiancée Nina Agdal, even though I'm not even defending her as much as the general concept of slut shaming is dumb to me. Regardless, I do not trust the Paul family. So none of this is me trying to redeem any of them. I hope they've grown, the two sons. The dad, that ship has sailed. If you're 50 and still being that creepy, no one can help you. The whole concept here, though, is this Dylan Dennis dude that Logan Paul is supposed to be fighting has been going on this Twitter rampage of just posting these photos and videos of Nina with various men, implying certain things, which I'm sure you can guess. It just has been deeply and profoundly disturbing to me, because no matter where you stand about relationships, about hookup culture, all of that, this is not okay. And even if it's promotional, and especially if Logan Paul agreed to it, I feel like that makes it way more fucked up, by the way. If your fiance agrees to slut shame you to promote a silly fight, okay, time to dump him, girl. But even if this is promotional, even on Dylan's side, that he's just doing this to get attention, so then people pay attention to his profile, so then they pay attention to him, they pay attention to the fight. This is so toxic and fucked up, because imagine someone posting all these pictures of you with different people in your life with whom you may have any type of relationship, nobody knows apart from you and that other person and maybe your friends, implying that you've done God knows what, but more than anything, fueling this kind of online rage against you because you used your bodily autonomy. Like, imagine people being mad that you slept with so-and-so when it was consensual, legal, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about cheating. I'm just talking about two single people sleeping together who are of age. None of our business. And I don't know why you'd want that to be your business. Like, it's a little bit creepy, you know, like what people do behind closed doors when it's legal and consensual and hopefully ethical, I do not want to know. But the reason that I'm frustrated about this is that why are we still having this conversation? What does it change to you? Let's say that you believe that someone that sleeps with more than X amount of people is a whore. Let's say that's the case. Let's say she did sleep with more than the amount of people you think is acceptable. Now what? What in your life has changed? Will she change her life based on you, random user from bumfuck nowhere, saying God knows what? No. So when I see these things, I get enraged because it's not only useless, it's not only promoting toxic behavior, but we get to no point. There is no end line here. The irony, the major irony about all of this to me is that I'm the one even saying this, because I have my own personal beliefs about all of that. I think I've said it before, but in case I hadn't, not a hookup culture girly, cannot do random hookups. I've only been in one relationship in my life, so really, I'm not the one, you know, who's all about fuck buddies, shit like that. It's just not for me. I'm not wired that way. End of. That doesn't make me better or worse than anyone else. That's just how I see it. But it is particularly ironic that someone who does not relate at all to any of what's going on here, of what allegedly is going on here, is saying something about it. Because that's when you know it's really fucking bad. Because as I also said, I don't particularly care about the Paul brothers, whatever they're up to, but this has been such a, not eye-opening experience, because I think we all know that people online are kind of the worst, but it's been so jarring to me that in this day and age, we have all these people who are about body positivity and sex positivity and feminism and all these big terms people like throwing around or putting in their bios on fucking Tinder. And then this is how they behave. It's the hypocrisy of it all that bothers me, because either you really believe this shit and you stand behind it, or don't claim any of it. It is kind of black and white in this case. So when I see this stuff coming from women who have pictures of themselves on their profile wearing a swimsuit, I don't have a problem with that, and I don't think anyone should have a problem with that. But we all know someone who thinks that girls who post pictures in swimsuits online are sluts. We all know someone toxic like that, right? So it's disheartening to see the same girls who would probably be harassing another girl or another woman. It's sad. I'm using the woman example because I've known people like that. I've been in situations like that, but obviously this is not aimed towards a particular gender. It's just disappointing and alarming to a certain degree too, because it feels like there's constantly this need to virtue signal on social media platforms about how you're so open-minded and forward-thinking and about everyone's rights and all this shit. So much of the time it turns out that the people who are screaming loudest about thing X, Y, or Z are really the ones perpetuating it. I am annoyed. I am over it. I feel bad for Nina, because imagine you get engaged, assuming this is the love of her life, assuming that it's a real engagement and not some publicity stunt, assuming the best, something I do once a year maybe. How shitty would it be for that special moment to be ruined by some random online person who, as far as we know, doesn't even really know her, saying all this shit about you and saying all these things about your character and trying to basically convince the man who asked you to marry him that they're making a mistake? That sounds like a lot of effort. And for what? Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm annoyed by this. I just think this is such shitty behavior with no purpose. You know, like sometimes people are shitty and I can at least see where they're coming from, but here I'm like, what? At the end of the day, what do we have now that we didn't have before? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.